Grand Theft Hamlet. When I settled in to watch this movie, you can bet I was expecting the grittiest Hamlet imaginable. In the seedy underbelly of Los Santos, Hamlet prowls for revenge. Sex, drugs, murder, and high speed chases make this the most immersive, hardcore, R rated Hamlet you've ever seen. Wait, it's not? Sorry, I'm getting word that the movie was actually heartwarming? In order to understand how a cross between Grand Theft Auto and Hamlet could possibly be heartwarming, I have to take you back to 2020. Wait, don't click away! Wordle, Dalgona Coffee, Animal Crossings, Tiger King. 2020 was the year that we, as the human race, collectively lost our minds. Experts say many of us are still looking for them. As for me, I had never been a gamer. So in 2020, instead of gaming, I naturally got really into watching other people game. I'll admit it, it started with Among Us. And then slowly, I even evolved to watch my favorite streamers play other games like Raft, Valorant, and then, for a brief and beautiful moment in time, Grand Theft Auto. In hindsight, I think what I enjoyed the most was definitely the parasocial aspect. I was separated from my friends. I was in a long distance relationship that then ended. I felt so isolated and alone. And so watching other people play with their friends online was artificially filling that hollow space in my life. These were dark times for a lot of people, including our protagonists, Sam and Mark. We joined them in January of 2021. And like many people, they are coping with the closure of the real world by entering a fake one. It's the UK's third lockdown. Theaters are closed indefinitely. And for Sam and Mark, who are actors, this is incredibly depressing. They can't exactly work from home. As we join them, even GTA isn't lifting their spirits. They head to the casino to play the game ironically titled Impotent Rage, which seems to leave Sam in an impotent rage. He engages in some mindless violence outside the casino to, and I quote, distract from the crushing inevitability of his pointless life. And yes, I did say this movie is heartwarming, so just hang on. They commit one murder, and while on the run from the cops, they stumble upon Vinewood Bowl, a beautiful in-game amphitheater. As they stand on stage, the energy starts to change. Just kidding, they're still depressed. Mark gets on stage, though, and recites maybe the most depressing lines in all of Shakespeare. Life's a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. These lines from Macbeth are depressing enough when you have a real human in front of you saying them. But when you have a fake version of yourself in a fake reality saying them, I just don't know how much more existential we can get, like as a species. Sam and Mark then get the idea to put on Hamlet inside of GTA. And you'd think when you click on this movie that most of what you're going to watch is going to be their production of Hamlet inside GTA. That's the whole point. Grand Theft Hamlet's inside GTA. But actually, you're only going to watch 13 minutes of their production total. The first 75 minutes of the movie are just about their process. It's much more trying to be a documentary of the process than it is trying to be a production of Hamlet. If I had to guess why they focus on the making of rather than the actual production, it's probably because the real production is not that good. Like, if you had to actually watch 2 hours of people putting on Hamlet inside GTA, it would border on unwatchable. And this is not the fault of any of the actors. From what I can tell, they're reading their lines well and they're hitting their emote buttons at the right times. But as a play performance, it just feels a little soulless. There's a reason not many people go back and watch films Zoom play readings from 2020. And it's because theater is an embodied art form. What distinguishes theater from film is that the actors are actually in front of you in real time, living and breathing and existing in space and time with you. Seeing a play live is meant to be a reminder that you are alive. It's a living reminder of your humanity, The fact that this in game performance is the closest they can get to real theater is just incredibly sad. And I pray that we never again go through a time where we have to resort to online theater because it's an oxymoron. The strongest moments of the film are the moments that come closest to real human interaction. And you might not get this much in the production itself, but as they embark on the project, they have some fantastic interactions that really don't feel scripted at all. As they try to launch their project, they're basically evangelizing Shakespeare to random people online. They're talking Hamlet to people who logged into a video game to break traffic laws, deal drugs, rob banks, and murder people. It is not easy. They lose their lives multiple times in the process. Martyrs for Shakespeare. But they also meet people like Parteb, who will later defend them with the sword. And by the sword, I mean a machine gun in a helicopter. He's like patrolling their airspace to protect their rehearsal. Parteb has absolutely no experience with theater or with acting, and he's a breath of fresh air for a project that is mostly populated with actors. When they hold auditions, Parteb initially isn't sure what to do. He's certainly never done anything like this before. They ask him if he has any text to share, and we're in so much suspense because no one has any idea what this random guy in a lizard costume is gonna do. He's a total loose cannon. But he recites some verses from the Quran. It's the only text he knows by heart. He doesn't have a monologue or anything. But for this reason, it feels so much more genuine and grounded than any of the other auditions they see. His isn't a performance. You get this sense from Parteb throughout that he's not trying to play a part. He's just like living in his life and participating in it as he normally would. He's just being. And like there's really nothing more Hamlet than this. Now this positive aspect of the film is coming with a backhanded criticism, which is that parts of the documentary feel incredibly staged. Maybe I'm just cynical, but even the opening where they stumble upon the theater feels like it's faked. The actors are acting like they're coming up with the idea. But the cynic in me thinks, why would they already be recording if they didn't know yet about this project? Similarly, there's a moment in the film where Sam gets into a kind of an argument with his wife, Penny Grills, who has joined the project as a filmmaker, documentarian, and they get into this fight about him spending too much time in game and not enough with their family in real life. Now, this could be a totally genuine moment between the two, and it could even be powerful, but because they're both recording, it just has the appearance of like reality TV where you're like, oh, did they just add this in for the drama? Also, most of the people they work with aren't actually the randos that they find in game. It's people that hear about the project online. It seems like they post about it on Twitter, and that's how they get people to join them. Otherwise, it might have just been an impossible quest. Like they might have just kept getting killed, martyred for their quest to put on Shakespeare. That being said, I do think the film was definitely thought provoking in a couple different ways. Number one is very simple. They make such creative use of the game as a setting for Hamlet. The whole city of Los Santos is their oyster. They don't perform on the Vinewood Bowl stage, they perform on a blimp, on a boat, at the beach, in the ocean. They take full advantage of the world of Los Santos, which, for all its grittiness, you'll find is actually rather beautiful. But beyond just the setting and the amazing things they can do without like blowing through a huge budget, the world of GTA is filled with these really unexpected reminders of our humanity and our mortality, and just the ever present question of, like, what is the point of it all? Which feels very appropriate for Hamlet. In the bottom right corner, you have a constant feed notifying you when other people die. You are placed in an environment that is absolutely filled with death. The film also has a really interesting sequence about NPCs or non player characters. These people look human, but they're not. No one's playing them. What is a man if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed a beast no more? Hamlet is trying so hard to take control over his life, to claim that he does have a purpose. He's not just a cog in the machine, but he literally is just a few pixels on the screen. He is living in a simulation in this version. It's very strange to ponder. In order for Hamlet's death to be timed just right, he actually shoots himself when he finishes his lines. And when he does so, the feed says, Hamlet took the easy way out, which is a very interesting piece of text with which to punctuate a production of Hamlet. But of course, in GTA, not to be is not actually a real option. Like, no death is final in game. You're always going to respawn. The only true, like, not to be inside GTA is maybe just not to log on, to log off forever, which again is just an interesting way of looking at the whole to be or not to be speech. Every speech in the show is suddenly cast in a different lights when it's within GTA. Only a few seconds after he takes his own life, you're attending the cast party at the casino with the actors. They are much happier than Mark and Sam were at the top of the film. They are rightly proud of themselves. They found a purpose and a community to get through an extremely dark and depressing time. The antidote, it seems, is other people and Shakespeare. Thankfully, Mark, Sam, and Penny have been able to return to real, in-person theater. Sam Crane actually played Harry Potter in The Cursed Child at the West End not long after the events of this film. For my books, this is far from the best Hamlet adaptation out there, especially since it doesn't actually attempt to adapt Hamlet. But as a piece about the COVID times and Hamlet, I do think it asks a lot of really interesting questions. What does it mean to be a human? What is theater? Two questions that I think are very important to Hamlet. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please go ahead and like and subscribe for more. Thank you. Bye.